Hi guys, George here with an after action report for the scenario Might Makes Right. So this was the third game in my virtual winter offensive match and my first of two victories. Um, with respect to victories, winning can be as much as a curse as losing. I would rather lose the game than to lose a friend, and well, that's pretty much how it is, and um, that's how I feel. And some may say that if you lose a friend over a game, they weren't really friends. But uh, being on the winning and losing side, I can tell you that both outcomes are difficult on the psyche, especially if one situation constantly repeats itself and you have more of one than the other. Speaking of losing, unfortunately, last week I lost a friend that started me back in squad leader. My condolences go out to the family and my prayers to the late Bob Osipov. I still have some of his videos up, of our videos up on my channel. I I privatized some because the views were less than 50. Um, I really don't have a watermark as to which videos I will allow up or not. As long as people are enjoying them, I'll as well. So it was really sad to lose Bob. Um, I wish him Godspeed, and I hope he's rolling low in heaven. All right. With that said, let's look at Might Makes Right. Fine Fade in Norway, 11th of May 1940. So this is the beginning of the German invasion of Norway. Of course, there is the Anglo forces involved up there. However, with great difficulty, the Germans did achieve their objective in occupying Norway. Mm, From my perspective, I still believe that the British had a sizable amount of, uh, well, a significant amount of intelligence and commandos operating in Norway, nonetheless, well after the Germans invaded it. So, this scenario entails is that the German player starts on the west edge of the board and has to occupy some buildings on the east side of the board. I highly recommend that the Norwegian player um, opt for the balance in this game. And the reason why, if we look at the OB, is that the Germans have 468 squads, uh, quite a contingent of 8 morale squads, a good amount of leaders. The ELR is 4. In terms of support weapons, you got quite a few um, quite a few mortars. Yeah, and in this case, the Norwegians, apart from 2 elite squads, the rest is general and first line squads, MMGs, 2 MMGs, and a light machine gun, and 12 dummies. They don't all have to be dummies, but there are 12 dummies at their disposal. And the thing I don't like about the Norwegian OB is there is no heavy machine gun. And if there was, it would probably make a big difference. Now, we'll fight exceptionally well. Let's go to the board and see how things look like. Now, um, the second group, the second group of German forces can start on or after turn 1. Um, that's significant because you can use this group as reconnaissance, and then once you know the deployment, how the Norwegian player deployed, you can decide how to bring these guys up. And I opted, me being the German player, I opted to bring all my forces in right away, using a bit of prudence. So let's look at the setup and how I went about it. So if you are a good student of Bill Bishop, and uh, let's look at these things here. Map annotations or label, nope, map annotations. Straight arrows, and let's take a look at these arrows. So if you take a look at the map, there is um, there is terrain suitable for a cautious German advance. So let's go here and rotate clockwise. Rotate clockwise. Hold on to it. Control X, and let's make it longer, and longer, and longer. So the suitable terrain to for a decent, safe German advance is along the edges of the board here, right? Along the edges of the board and right here. Okay. Now, something to note is that these are alpine hills. So with alpine hills, you do not have lost through the uh, a hex, but you do have lost to an adjacent hex. So rolling hills is in chapter B, of course. So that was the plan. The plan was to move along the edges of the board, flank, and then take the village from this direction. Now let's delete those arrows, and let's take a look at the well, we can't take a look at uh, the Norwegian OB because they're concealed by my opponent, but basically he did an excellent setup here along this tree line, whereby he can take pot shots at the advancing Germans and then route back into the village and defend it from there. Alright, so let's step through the log and see how George and Will um, handled this situation. We put our snipers on the board. I am moving a half squad, and it's stripped right away of concealment. And he takes his first shot. Clear the LOS, and we're pinned. Now here we go again. I am stripped of concealment, but I advanced right up next to him. And here's my first casualty, right there. And I can understand why he first fired, is because he can subsequent fire on the adjacent unit after the fact. In the meantime, he's preserving his fire and making sure that I don't advance adjacent to him. So I call defensive fire, and now he is firing. I believe he's firing on the adjacent unit. Final fired. Morale check 11, and he broke. And he's eliminated. No quarter was declared by my opponent. Here's the first casualty of war in this battle. And we're on to the German advance phase turn 1. And what's important to note here is my mortars are up and running. More or less. Few casualties, but not the end of the world. So here we attempted to rally. I don't believe he did. And we rolled for weather. Ally turn 1, where you have a little bit of a prep fire. Luckily for me, all the fires inconsequential. As you can see, the rolls here are 10 and 11. So a bit of bad luck, to say the least. And we're moving I guess now that he's seen how I am advancing, he is already prepared here for a German advance from here. What the heck is that doing here? There. Get rid of it. There. From here. And here he has the road covered. Yep, he has the road covered. Scores a morale check. I score a morale check on my defensive fire. We're trying to unconceal that fellow. And now the mortar opens up. And we get a -1 act, but the fire is inconsequential. Here we go. We only managed to pin there. So here we are in the advanced phase. The route phase was taken care of. Axis turn 2. We did rally the German unit. It's only a 248 half squad. Nothing special there. We're prep firing. Now in this game, the German player has only 7 turns to capture 13 or more building hexes on this side of the board. If you ain't moving, you're losing. Alright, but we did prep fire for one reason or another. Here's our little discussion about rolling hills and rolling alpine hills. Seems that we do have an ACK. Opportunity fire? Oh yeah. Oh wow. We're advancing headlong on this unit. And he CX'd because he more or less went up the hill. And here we have a bit of prep fire again. And we broke this fellow. So now their route to advance it to the village is clear up to this point. Now if you take special attention, he does have a clear way to put down fire along this road, and he probably has along the hex spine the bead on this hex in echo 2 from this hex, and possibly from here to there, possibly. So he has the road covered, and I was exploring the possibility to dash across here, and basically to dash it's just one hex, maximum 2 hexes, so you're dashing across from here. But if there was loss to this hex by any of those units, I declared dash, and then the unit that has loss to here and here could fire on them at full firepower. But the unit that does not have loss here and here would be half firepower. That's the way I understood it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we all make mistakes. And now his path is pretty much covered up to this hex. So Bueller and his crew and his troops are making good headway. Mueller as well. And least but not last, Steiner is making his way up as well. And it's only turn 2. So we made good headway. The few squads that were placed up there to prevent concealment and draw some lucky shots, I don't think they served their purpose as well as they could have. There we go, we get a POW. And there's more routes. This route proved to be invaluable because all the squads the Norwegian player can muster is of great value. So here we are trying to get concealment gains. End of German turn 2. We're rolling for concealment. Of course, we're not that successful. The motor broke in last phase. And now it's Allied turn 2. We had some wind change. And he is going straight to movement and defensive fire. Now, at this juncture, my greatest fear is coffee, guys. My greatest fear is what's waiting for me there, right? He has 2 MMGs, and what's waiting for me there? And he's out in the open right now, more or less. So let's see how this unfolds. I'm doing my defensive fire. I just showed him that he has a clean line of sight to this hex, and it's my most valuable leader sitting out in the open. It is my defensive fire. I'm going to be firing at a concealed unit at half firepower, and probably it's going to be quartered because it's out of range, and that is valuable intel to my enemy, and the potential for inflicting damage is really low. So let's see how it unfolds. Rolled boxcars. Serves you right, George. And we have to find out which of the support weapons, if any, um, broke. Or perhaps I didn't use any. Yep, it doesn't look like I used any support weapons. Yep, I'm pretty very good at putting in the numbers in the log. But in this game, speed was of essence, so it was important. Now, in this case, rather than staying there, he backed up, and I found that a little bit backed up from here to there. I found that a little bit perplexing. I suppose he anticipated that I will move towards this direction. And so there was no point in trying to attack him. He is getting himself prepared to fire here, and at the same token, I'm pretty sure he has line of sight here to there from here. Oh well, let's see what unfolds. So we're on axis turn 3. And we assault moved up to the tree line. We're trying to draw fire. And we did, but luckily for us it's a 10. It's a very high roll. And leaves 1 residual. And there we go, firing again. He managed to break 1 squad. Right there. Now, no quarter is declared, so technically speaking, he will be able to low crawl back. And he managed to fire here and eliminate 1, 2, 4, 7. Looks like we got a sniper check there, a successful sniper check. Yep, it was a SAM activation of 1. And there goes Steiner. What a lucky dude. Ooh, there's the MMG number 2. Clean line of sight. And looks like we pinned a couple of units here. Did some morale checks. Yeah, we got a good squad broken. shredded to pieces. Here we go, more CX, and more CX. Strips me of concealment. So this shot was done on the inherent firepower. I guess now he's firing an MMG. And we got away scot-free with along a prisoner. And we're bringing up some stragglers. Staller, 8-1. 3 German squads. Now we're bringing up the mortars. And this was key and instrumental, I believe, to making these fellows rout. It was key and instrumental in making these fellows rout because, as you all know, the mortar hits you in a tree, in a forest hex, you get the -1 tree burst modifier, as opposed to any protective fire whatsoever. Yep, I was wondering if leaving the tree line would have been, not setting up at the tree line would have been more prudent, and having some points to ambush here, straight from the city or the village board. And here's the dreaded fear I was scared of, is where's his 9-2 leader, and of course he's going to have it stacked with a 458, an elite squad, and with the MG. And although this guy is concealed, he won't be concealed for long because he needs to get to the village. And he did score a morale check on poor old Bueller and unconcealed him. But it appears that he survived the first shots. There's a second MMG. Now here we are routing, and we're routing forward. Because we cannot see any of these units up here. And here we are low crawling. And I managed to inflict some damage as well. Alright. Advancing fire phase. This is the do-si-do. So, back in elementary school, although we're up here in Canada, most of Canada likes to listen to country music as well. The city folks don't, but the country folks do. So in elementary school, the teacher taught us how to do square dancing. And you all know the Bugs Bunny routine where he starts saying to the hillbillies, grab your partner round and round, etc., etc. So given the opportunity to exchange locations with the concealed unit, we'll put the concealed unit up there, continue to draw fire, but protect Bueller, keep him in reserve so he can rally troops and bring them back up and continue to harass these defenders here. That's the do-si-do. There we go. We did the do-si-do and advanced as much as we could, because if you ain't moving, you're losing. So close combat, we're checking for concealment gain, and there's no LOS. There is no LOS. So what do we got there? It's already turn 3, Allied prep fire phase. This is interesting. Okay. He eliminated another half squad right there. So far we got one full squad as a prisoner and one elite squad equivalent KIA, and one regular first line squad, KIA. And this MMG really did a number. It really did a number on the troops advancing here. And here we go again. That's a pretty good move here on behalf of my opponent. So he has a guard unit from guarding, well, a guarding unit guarding the flanks, the flank of this where's it? The northern flank of the village, and we have one unit guarding the southern flank, and these units are in a bit of a disarray here. He's still broken and probably half squad. I guess the plan here is to keep him um, DM'd, keeping Steiner out of the way, and preventing these guys from advancing through here. But look at the reinforcements that are coming up. I have another 3 whole squads. They're keeping the pressure up on the northern flank, so it's not a cakewalk, but we're still presenting some difficult decisions to the allied player. Advanced phase, allied. Guarding this path here. So we're looking at concealment gain. And now it is German turn 4. We roll for weather. There isn't any. Rally. DM comes off, but he did not rally. And we're looking at firing our infantry mortar at this unit here. Which makes sense, right? We want to eliminate the possibility that he will fire on the 3 advancing 468s. We got a knack. We had a sniper check, but we had a pretty good roll. We have a good KIA there. We eliminated the leader, didn't we? Or not? Looks like we did. What happened to the 7-0? We're rolling again. No more rate. Second mortar opens up. Let me tell you, when those mortars start rolling, we broke one unit, we pinned the other. I think this was the game changer, is getting rid of these guys. These guys only have a range of 6, so these boys here, look what's coming up. 4, 6, 8, 3 in a row, and Staller, the 8-1 leader. Staller, I believe, was in the classic game a 9-2 leader, but there's something magical about this guy's name on a German counter. Whenever you put it on, strange things happen to that counter. Notice I'm a bit superstitious, huh? So here we have a sniper check. We have the 9-2 firing on that unit there. Actually, I'm firing at him pretty ineffectually. Alright. What am I pressing the L for? Let's go. Okay, here comes Steiner. Here comes Mueller. And of course, we're not making a kill stack here. No sorry, Bob. What we're doing is we are giving this unit 3 units or 3 stacks to attack at. And here comes the good old 468s. One at a time, being very cautious and being very prudent. Too cautious, I may add. Alright, Axis turn 4, defensive fire. Fixes the covered arc. And they're firing in all directions. As you can see, the rolls are pretty high. There's a element of bad luck here. A clear element of bad luck. This fellow got DM'd and broken. And now we're looking at the route phase. They're routing back. And it's now German advance phase. And we have some elements that are unconcealed and some elements that are concealed. The Norwegians still have two MMGs pointed at their direction. And we're pressing the attack here, right? We're pressing the attack because if you get a 4 up 1 lucky shot in one of those stacks and you break everybody, what's going to happen? So by pressing the attack, we've made his decisions more intense, more painful, more critical. Alright, so let's pause and load the second log. Here we are. So this is how the situation looks like at the end of or the beginning of Allied turn 4. There's a lot of broken units that were beaten back by the mortars. The 9-2 is holding his ground. The 4-5-7 is in the process of being overrun by a numerically superior force. At this point, my opponent was thinking of calling it quits, but I'm saying, you know, this guy, as long as this guy is not out of the picture, and the German player has yet to capture any hex and building hex, you're still in the game, buddy, and there's only 3 turns left to complete it. Don't give up. Trying to encourage my opponent to stay in the fight. Was that good or bad? I like to think it's good because look, when we're dealing with random numbers, anything can happen. Anything can happen. As you can see, there's certain important rallies taking place here. And move. Well, I should be doing the moving, but instead my opponent is. And in this particular situation, instead of sticking around and fighting, he chose to skulk. I don't blame him, but we're going to do a defensive fire to hit. IFT, no effect. To hit again, we should have been able to hit there. IFT, and we activated the Allied SAN. But we did a pretty good nifty roll there. Sound activation, nothing. Morale checks. Rain passing. Another SAN activation. Now it's my defensive fire, so of course I'm going to fire everything I got. And we're firing at a concealed unit. At least we're firing with an MG, where we can get rate. And I'm not too sure I was able to fire the 248 He's guarding a squad that's larger than him. Or was he actually... yeah. Alright, so we did rout and advance. And concealment gains. Axis turn 5. What do we do? What do we do? We tried to rally the mortar squad, and I think we did. We had a little rally there. Roll a 6. Should be good. So does this guy rally? Yep, he rallied. And we're firing at the Alpine unit. Boom. Nothing happened. And we're trying to break that fellow there. Doesn't look like it was effective. Let's see. There we go. We rolled an 8. Morale check 6. Now we rolled snakes. And eventually broke that unit there. And we have the 248 going up. We're on the movement phase of axis turn 5. A little preview. What we're trying to do now is perform a little classic pincer movement and bring everybody here, right? And they'll be able to draw fire from there, and we'll be able to fire from here. Whilst all the other units that are moving up will try to occupy some building hexes. So after said and done, towards the end of the game, we're poised to take some building hexes without being inflicted any fire or casualties from our enemy. Here we are. All the German units are advancing. Steiner. Ooh, poor Steiner. He just moved to the woods. And clear LOS of the MMG. Luckily for us, that was a 10 roll. And here we go. That's a lonely LMG. So there we have a clear line of sight from the 457. Moving in the open. Loses concealment. And it's the there was a bit of defensive fire, nothing consequential. Now it's advancing fire. Steiner opens up on the LMG. Scores a good morale check. Boom. Got him broken. Fire group. There I am activating the Allied SAN. Activated the SAN again. Breaking everybody. Oh, a bad SAN. Lucky for me, I had the German half squad there. That was a bad SAN activation. It could have really hit Bueller badly. Eliminated him. Inadvertently, I had sniper bait out there. That's what I'm trying to say. And we have a couple of important routes. And the gateway to the village is now open. Now let's take a look at those victory conditions again to see how far or at this point in the game I am at. Provided the Norwegians amass less than or equal to 10 casualty victory points, prisoners do not count as double. The German wins at game end if they control greater than or equal to 13 building hexes on board 10. So we're looking at the casualty victory points as well. And they don't look too well for the Norwegians, I don't think, but they're definitely, the German player, I believe, is in a worse predicament. Hmm. Moving along. Here's the plan unfolding, unraveling. And in this case, if I have a +1 modifier here and a +1 modifier for height, I can pick height and really now exert some pain in this direction because the way they have moved, they are poised to return here and block my advance from here. So um, I want to keep them from returning to that defensive position. And in this case, these units are poised now to break out and capture more building hexes. Axis close combat phase, we're concealing. And more concealment gains. Did not look like they were able to fire. Ally turn 5. Advance phase. Another POW. 2 POWs, but they don't count for anything. Um, Take the POW because if you declare no quarter and they're allowed to low crawl, they can self-rally and come back at you at a certain time and come back at you in your rear quarters. Axis turn 6, we put some opportunity fire. So right off the bat they lose concealment. That's alright. We're going to try and bait some fire. And we're moving. And we have a few victory points here. And to strip concealment, he showed me there was a real unit there. These boys CX. Mueller does there's a little breakout. Goes there. Steiner's up. Now we're placing down smoke and trying to dash across the street. Here we go. And there we are trying to uh, bait the Norwegian player to attack this squad. And I'm trying to be prudent and careful because CVPs count, but I think it's the third time I'm mentioning it. If you ain't moving, you're losing. You gotta haul ass. Well, 9 minus 2 inflicted some damage there. Luckily for me, I have rally terrain nearby. Hmm. I kind of rolled heat of battle. So they became berserk. That's crazy. So here's my advance fire. I'm advancing fire back. No, it's a 2 even shot. Firing like a madman, I suppose. some inconsequential shots, and now it's Axis turn 2. There we have some units retreating. Advance phase. So we're bypassing right up to the front. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If we can get it. And then one more and we're good. See, I don't fear advancing this fellow into the open because I got to give him the opportunity to capture more buildings. And check this out. Ooh, there's another capture. So it looks like this whole thing, this whole line of defense was annihilated. Problem is these guys now have to advance. By advance I mean moving, and then next movement phase and charge. Makes them especially vulnerable. And in close combat they're lax. There's our concealment gain. Ally turn 6. It was a fun game. We played it to the end. So at this point I think my opponent conceded. Let's take a look at the average rolls here. So George Hioda is 6.89. Did my opponent also disclose his rolls? As you can see, morale check was my lowest roll. Oh yeah, he did. I'm not too sure. Let's see. Yep, he did. So say no to that. Let's go back. So 7.62 average DRs for Will. Morale checks, task checks, and other, which our win rolls were pretty bad. The IFT was average. Rally was exceptionally well. And for myself, I was exceptionally well in rally, task checks, and the IFT. 2-hit was pretty good. Other average, and morale checks was horrible, but the morale checks that he scored were on multi-man counters that were able to rebound, and that's how everything unfolded. So I hope you enjoyed this AAR. It lasted, well, more than 48 minutes, and usually I try to keep everything compact, but it was a good game, and there was a lot of action I find to portray. So I'll keep it full length, and I will not forget to thank all my subscribers. I saw the channel grow again week after week. There's all these new members, and I'm really excited about that. And don't be shy to send me back some feedback. I got some interesting feedback from Neil Uden that, with respect to scanning your scenarios and keeping a soft copy, which really helps a lot because when we're playing remotely, and these days unfortunately we're playing remotely more often than not, if you have two monitors, you can always keep a scanned copy of the scenario card available, so you can remind yourself of the victory conditions. You can remind yourself of the special rules. keep in mind the aftermath. Reading the aftermath is a must, I find, because sometimes they provide you with a little hint as what the actual units did to win. Um, with that said, I'll wish you all a happy weekend. Um, Stay safe, be kind to one another. Life is short, and we're living on borrowed time, so enjoy. Take care. Bye.